everyone. I wanted to come on here today and share two miracle stories. First of all, we are in April of 2023, so just wanted to date this video. I'm sharing these two miracle stories because they're miracles, first of all, and second of all, there is a kind of like a new age terminology that talks about, it sounds really lame, vibrating on a higher frequency. And after thinking about these two miracles that happen, I'm thinking that, and actually a lot of the sages talk about what that means. And after experiencing these two miracles, I kind of understand a little better how practically, what it means to practically vibrate on a higher level. So I'm going to tell you these two miracle stories. First of all, vibrating on a higher level, and then which actually allows us to continue experiencing miracles. And the more you experience them, the more they happen. And then you need to talk about them, and the more you talk about them, the more they happen, and the more you see them, and it's like it's an upward cycle. So I want to share two miracles. First of all, the first one happened a few months ago, and what happened was that there was a Chabad in the Chabad of Las Olas. I've told this story before to a few people, and I'm not going to name names this time, but the Chabad of Las Olas for a few years has a Torah that they were in the process of writing, and a couple of months ago they said, okay, we're going to finish it and we're going to dedicate it. We're going to have the celebration when a Torah is completed and finds its new home in the community. It's like a huge cause for celebration. So a friend of mine, one of the members of the community, she was really instrumental in rallying the last group of people, the last funds that needed to be donated and collected, and she was like super, super instrumental in getting the project to fruition. So it so happens that the Chabad of Las Olas is deeply connected to Israel Heart to Heart organization, israelhearttoheart.org. Maybe I'll put the link to that organization down below. But they had a delegation that was coming to town, and so it was decided within about 10 days in advance that the Torah dedication was going to happen that same weekend. So I get a phone call from my girlfriend and said to me, hey, do you know that the Torah dedication is happening 10 days from now, next following Sunday? Do you know I have a plane ticket to London that I've had on my calendar, and I purchased the ticket months and months and months ago? Why are they planning it so quickly in advance? And, it was like a difficult situation. This person had been very, very connected to the project, and she has this conflict. What's she going to do? So obviously it's a problem. They have a whole IDF delegation from Israel Heart to Heart organization coming, and I guess she must have spoken to the rabbi and tried to get the date changed. I said, give it a try. I don't think it's going to get changed because there's a lot of moving parts already in place. And so I let it go, and I'm thinking, oh darn, what a conflict. This person has been really instrumental in getting this to happen, and she's not even going to be here to be able to celebrate, the experience. So that afternoon, I start getting text messages and pictures of this Torah dedication that Sunday afternoon from her. And I said, hey, what are you doing? I thought you were on an airplane to London. And she said, oh no, I got an email this morning, the flight was canceled. And I said, what do you mean the flight was canceled? She said, yeah, the flight was canceled. So I'm at the Torah dedication. And I'm like, do you realize what just happened? She goes, what? I said, God arranged it. He grounded the airplane of 500 people or 800 or however many people go in an airplane to London, he grounded an airplane so that you could attend the Torah dedication. She goes, wait. And I said, yes, think about it. I said, no one was hurt. There was no terrorist attack. There was no bad weather. We don't know the reason. The fact remains that the plane was grounded. You made it to the Torah dedication because, God made a miracle for you. So I'm going with that. That's a miracle story to me. One of the most instrumental people in the whole program, she was going to miss it. What was she going to do? She wasn't going to give up her plane ticket. Well, guess what? She didn't have to give up her plane ticket. The plane was grounded. She went to the Torah dedication. The flight took off the next day. The airlines rescheduled it. And, to me, that's a miracle story. So I spoke to her last week. And I said, hey, how's the miracle girl who grounds airplanes? The one that God grounds airplanes for. She goes, well, it wasn't such a miracle. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, yeah, well, we had a connection in Boston, I think. She goes, and I fell. And I really hurt my teeth. And I thought I was going to lose my teeth. And my two front teeth, they were so bruised. And I'm like, you fell on your front teeth and they got bruised and you thought you were going to lose your front teeth? She goes, yeah. So, really wasn't a miracle. What happened, in Fort Lauderdale? And I'm like, don't you see the miracle? Like, you almost lost your front teeth. You got saved from losing your two front teeth. You got unscathed. Like, what a miracle is that? She goes, well, no, because, then I hurt my ankle. And then, I was on crutches, and I'm like, don't you see? You were on crutches. Like, you weren't totally incapacitated on your trip to England. You weren't in a wheelchair. You twisted your foot. That's it. You could have broken your leg. It could have been so much more. I said, like, such a miracle. These are all miracles. It's like, so, you can look at it like the plane was grounded. Oh man, totally ruined my vacation by 24 hours. I'm going to miss my other flights, Or you can look at it as a miracle. Like, what a miracle. The plane was grounded. She got to go to this beautiful event. And think about every other thing that happens in your life. Man, I got a speeding ticket. Well, wow, what about that speeding ticket saved you from a really dangerous accident? So anyway, so that's the miracle story about my friend that God grounded an airplane for so that she could attend the Torah dedication. And the other miracle story I want to share is that somebody I know, very dear to me, an elderly woman, recently experienced a sudden onset dementia. She's 92 years old. Sudden onset dementia. Never had any issue with that before in her life. And the doctor said sudden onset dementia there's usually a medical reason. So you need to do blood work, you need to do a CAT scan or an MRI, you need to figure out like what's the medical reason that has caused this dementia. Well, guess what? All of the tests were negative. No physical explanation for this sudden onset dementia. Somebody in our family was distraught, devastated. We thought, okay, so this is how it's going down. This is how it's going downhill. Something we're just going to have to deal with. We stepped into high gear. We hired another aide. We got, all the kids and the grandchildren called and started coming around, and 24/7 support and compassion and love, displays of love and total support and total family unity. Pretty much total family unity. Revolving around this person that had taken such a deep dive into what seemed to be oblivion. The only caveat, the only source of this kind of trigger, or the only trigger to this kind of total collapse, was that one of her favorite caretaker had gone away for 12 days. So it is said that when a caretaker leaves, the patient's life gets upended pretty much. And so, so we were dealing with a psychosis situation. So we got medication, and within 3 days of starting this medication, this person is totally back to her normal self. Even better than what this person was before this whole episode started. And I'm calling that a miracle story because I don't know of anyone at any age, well, it's not true, but at this age, in her 90s, who suffers this complete psychotic collapse, and then within 3 days of medication, totally like snaps out of it and comes back to her normal self. It's just unheard of to me. So I'm calling that a miracle. Within 3 days of beginning this medication, just an extreme turnaround, extreme recovery, extreme restoration, back to ground zero, and even better than the previous normal. She has more energy. Okay, so the medication maybe, but she's got totally new projects and new things, in the works. And I'm calling it a miracle. So I wanted to share 2 miracles with you. And this is what they mean by resonating on a higher frequency. So it's like life is always like up and down, up and down. But when you're on the downside and you look at it as a miracle, you're vibrating on the higher frequency. And then from that vantage point, you're just looking at all the other mountaintops. So when you see that mountaintop, you say, hey, there's a mountaintop, there's a miracle. And then you look up a little more and say like, oh, there's a miracle, there's another miracle. And when you're resonating on that frequency, sorry, I can't stand that terminology, but it's true. It's an upward spiral. I'll say it again, an upward spiral. And when you're on the mountaintop, you just have to keep looking at the other mountaintops. And life can be full of miracles. Life is full of miracles anyway. We just don't always see them. And when I would like to suggest that when you do see a miracle or experience a miracle, you need to call it out. And when you call it out, you'll see miracles more often and experience them and see them and speak about them. They'll happen. You'll see them. You speak about them. You see them. They happen. And it's an interesting way to transform your life, your consciousness, like how you look at things, how you deal with people, how you deal with circumstances. And it even helps a person modify their reactions to things that happen in life, like things that happen for you, not to you. So like, oh man, the airplane was grounded. Why did that happen to me? Well, it happened to her so she could attend the Torah dedication. And maybe, just maybe, this person's, unfortunate psychotic break was sent down just to get the family all together, rallying around her. So I'm not saying why these things happen. We don't always understand them, but when they happen, we have to call them out. So I'm calling out these 2 miracles, and I would love to hear you, whoever's listening or whoever's listening to this in the future, whenever you hear this. I'm very curious to hear your miracle stories, and the more you call them out, the more you'll see them, and the more you see them and call them out, the more they'll happen. Okay? So have a beautiful day. That's my share for now. Bye.